Excellent.
I got scooted it over again.
I'm tired.
Don't be tired.
I have a
Just
pillow.
yawning right at the beginning of the show.
Beer's making me
All
sleepy.
right. Speaking of the beginning of the show, it's the beginning of the show.
Oh, hey.
Hey everyone, and welcome. You're watching Awesome Hardware. This is a weekly show. Kyle and I do it every Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We broadcast live to twitch.tv/awesomehardware. Maybe someday we'll actually Twitch. We'll actually Twitch to our streams. We'll actually stream to YouTube as well. But we're working on that. We haven't quite gotten it figured out yet.
We are known to Twitch a lot.
But we make slight progress with that every week. Apart from talking about technology like we usually do on the show, we also enjoy a beer. We're drinking straight from the bottle, ghetto style today, and we're drinking Sam Adams Oktoberfest because it was just a screaming deal at Rite Aid, pretty much.
You always know when it's an impromptu beer
Yeah.
run for Awesome Hardware when we stop at the local Rite Aid.
Yeah, we just
Pick up,
it was cold too, so
Sam
that was
Adams.
also a benefit.
Time was of the essence.
Cheers to all you guys. Anyway,
Cheers.
it's October. It's almost Halloween. Kyle and I are not dressed in Halloween costumes.
I am myself, which is the best Halloween
Kyle's dressed
costume
as himself.
because it requires no effort.
All right. Hey to everyone in chat. What's up, Sel? Thanks for being here.
Hey.
Our
Rooster?
dedicated moderator. Rooster's also there. Ganja Man. Other people. There's lots of people.
Yep.
I saw other people in there earlier too. All y'all people are wonderful.
Yep.
All right, let's kick off with some announcements here to get started. First off, as you probably know if you watch the show on a regular basis, Kyle and I both have some stores. You can go to the stores and you can buy merchandise, and that helps support us and our channels and what we do. My store is at store.paulshardware.net. We have the last remnants of a hoodie sale going on right now, so if you want to buy a hoodie for $10 off, they're only $30 now instead of $40. Get yourself something to keep you warm during the holiday season. I also have my favorite thumbscrew shirts and also glassware. We have mugs and glasses and all that good stuff. If you want to check those out and purchase, you can do that. Sorry, I just burped. Also, Kyle's got a store on awesomesaucenetwork.com/store. He also has unique designs nowhere else to be found, such as his Stay Positive and CPU Cooler shirts. And Kyle's also got your Awesome Sauce sweaters.
I think
You got
only
one left. This
one
one is
design of hoodie is still
one
in
is
stock,
still left.
and it's only in select sizes.
only a few sizes left. I think I have like one left of each size
Yeah.
on mine. This is another store. It's called epicpants.com. And why am I showing you guys this store? Because we benefit nothing when you shop here. Epic Pants is the
But you do.
store. We're a store run by Tech Syndicate, and they have a lot more merchandise there because they've been doing it for longer. We owe them a debt of gratitude because Logan helped both of us set up our stores, and it's all run by the same operation. It's where all the stuff gets shipped out of. So one more announcement for you guys when it comes to the stores is the combined shipping deal that you can already get if you shop at Kyle and my store at the same time is now also going to apply to epicpants.com. So if you happen to place orders for multiple things from multiple stores, do it at the same time, and Epic John over there, I just broke my little fan. Epic John over there will combine all the shipments into one box for you, and then he'll kick you back a little bit of a shipping discount. So if you want to buy many things, feel free to do so, and you won't have to pay separate shipping for all of them. You will have to pay separate shipping up front, but then you get a discount later on. Okay.
Sweet.
Do we have any other announcements? Is that pretty much it?
That's all. I think you covered it.
That's all? I did a good job.
You did. It was
Usually-
very efficient.
Usually it takes longer to get through the announcements.
I know. I think it's just because I shut up. I stopped like, and yeah,
you
we'll get
didn't-
Double Johnson. Blah.
You didn't interject?
This time I was just
Johnson's. No, that's another one. We yell Johnson at times during the show. We can't explain why, but just trust us on this.
like, just be aware of
If
it.
you happen to purchase something while we are live and we catch it, we usually we've been trying to at least look at this at the end of each half of the show. We will yell Johnson at you, and it makes you happy. We understand it makes people happier. So I have pre-Johnsons. I don't have any immediate Johnsons, but I got pre-Johnsons for Brian and Holly. I wanted to throw those out there to you guys. Cheers to you guys.
How do you do a
thanks for the
pre-Johnson?
support.
Like, how far back do you
I'm
go
just
for
going about a
pre-Johnson?
day. If it's been within the
A day
past
or
day
so.
or so,
All right.
then and I see. Honestly, for me, it's a different color if it hasn't been shipped out yet, so that shows me that it's fresh.
Ah,
So that's kind of what I went for there.
fresh Johnson.
All right, let's move right into the meat of the show,
Okay.
so to speak.
Which is
Which
I think
is
you have a new
I have a
segment,
new
don't you?
segment. We're gonna kick things off here with my new segment, which is called Winners or Wieners.
which one is it?
Kyle, those are wieners.
Oh, I thought
but
it
it's
was
called.
You told me to make the
Wieners.
lower third for. I thought it was you
Well,
wanted wieners.
You're close enough. You at
Okay.
least you got Charlie Sheen in there.
I got Charlie Sheen. So,
So
okay,
He's right there.
but
yeah.
he's technically winning. So I didn't do half bad.
You could call this maybe like a counter to my Oh Joy segment, which people got mad at me because because the Oh Joy segment is so negative about everything. But I keep stopping my little fan.
How do you expect to stay cool?
I don't know. I don't know.
Damaging your fan.
We're rolling with no AC, but I need a little bit of extra. All right, so winners, right? We're going to start off here with this thing that happened just today in the EU, European Union. All right, so first off, disclaimer. We're not in the European Union. We're in America,
Yeah.
or the United States, more specifically. California, more specifically than that.
It's true.
So we're sharing this information from a spectator's perspective. I don't think, which kind of makes sense. So if you are from Europe, or you're in the European Union, or you're just smarter than us, some of that, I think most of the stuff I'm going to say is true, but I mean we're a third party here, so we're on the outside looking in.
Okay.
Anyway, net neutrality. I listed this amongst the winners articles, and this isn't a wholly positive story. There's some goods and there's some bads, but the upshot here is that the EU had a vote for net neutrality today, and that net neutrality basically it passed on the one hand, but then there was little extras like add-on stuff that they rejected. So. Fundamentally, net neutrality has been approved. The European Parliament today voted in favor of net neutrality rules. There's no other pictures in this article, so I'm going to switch back to us. They voted in favor of net neutrality rules that, in theory, will prevent ISPs from blocking and throttling traffic or implementing paid fast lanes. We went through all of this just recently in the U.S. FCC voted in favor of net neutrality laws. There's some large companies trying to sue and counter that somehow. But hopefully, by and large, things are going pretty good. On the face of it, these look very similar, the EU and the US, and how these are going. But there are some significant differences. MEPs, which is a new acronym I learned today, stands for a Member of the European Parliament, MEPs.
MEPS. That's a new one.
I didn't know that was a thing. But they kept saying MEPs in the articles. I was also reading articles from Ars Technica and stuff, and so they were using
The more you
shorthand,
know.
European shorthand to confuse us ignorant Americans. All right, so they did not adopt amendments designed to strengthen the rules by closing potential loopholes. So there were amendments to the net neutrality rules that they were trying to vote in. Those did not go through. But the fundamental part of it was approved. And it's important because the EU did not previously have any continent-wide net neutrality rules. The legislation they adopted today will be developed into regulations that would go into place in April 2016. So it's a little bit more standardization. It's still just a hodgepodge if you look at the U.S. and the EU and other areas of the world and how they deal with the internet and everything like that. But this does seem fundamentally to be going in the right direction. The vote was 500 to 163 in favor of this plan, and they're going to be banning paid prioritization. But there are exemptions for specialized services, and these exemptions are broader in Europe, it appears, than the U.S. So if you're in the U.S., you'd be like, haha, our net neutrality rules are more stringent than the European ones, apparently.
It's only specialized services like Netflix and stuff, though.
Not necessarily, because that's fundamentally net neutrality.
Right,
Specialized services that they're talking about here is, for instance, zero rating. Zero rating is something where we say, I am a internet service provider like Verizon, and we also own content. If we feed you that content, it's not going to count against your upload cap or something, or your download cap or something like that. That's zero rating. You're basically saying this data being transferred to you doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because it's provided by us or something. So
That makes sense.
you can still do that in the EU. You can still do that in the US. But according to the article, the US's rules to prevent anti-competitive applications of zero rating are a little bit more stringent than what they did in the EU. EU also wants to let ISPs give priority to things like IPTV, high-definition video conferencing, and healthcare services such as telesurgery, which also makes sense. So these are exemptions, use case scenarios, specific scenarios where these broader net neutrality applications don't actually take effect. But the concern here is that although it seems like they're allowing exceptions for technical reasons, we're performing remote surgery or something like that, we got to have a solid connection. That's pretty important. There are still concerns that there are loopholes and openings that might allow companies or individuals or that kind of thing to take advantage of some of the rules. Anyway, also today the Parliament voted to ban data roaming charges beginning June 15th, 2017.
Wow.
So for you in Europe, no more data roaming charges. It's kind of nice.
Oh,
Anyway,
lucky bastards.
again, there are some grains of salt with that story, but by and large, good on you, EU, for approving at least the fundamentals there. It seems like there's more that could be added on to make things a little bit more stringent, but let's move on to our next story.
All right.
Unless you have biting something insightful, Kyle, something
No.
deep.
No, not
nothing.
at all.
We got nothing. All right, that's cool.
Sounds good to me.
That's fine. All right, next story here. I have to give a shout out to Jenny because she tweeted this earlier today, and that's what allowed me to spot it. The DMCA ruling from today ensures that you cannot be sued for hacking your car, your games, or your iPhone.
I didn't
Broadly
know that
speaking.
you could be sued before.
Well, they were trying to put rules into place in order to allow them to sue you. This is also actually the things in the title here. Hacking your car, your games, or your phone are three separate rulings that the DMCA has come down with today. But this ruling ensures that it's legal to tinker with your motor, your iPhone, or other technology you purchase. However, the freedoms that they based on this ruling are only in place for 3 years. So in 3 years, they're going to have to come back to it unless other legislation goes through in the meantime. And that will be a fight between the anti-tinkering corporations and the activists, aka people who want to use the stuff that they buy however they want to use it. Because that's really what this all boils down to, is after you bought something, do you own that and can you do whatever the heck you want with it, such as a game? Can you modify the code or something? An iPhone or a phone in general, can you unlock it in order to allow you to do different things with the software? And when it comes to cars and vehicles, and the reason that this has actually made such progress, or at least, I don't want to say progress, but there's been a lot of emphasis on this recently, has been vehicles. Prior to today's decision, car manufacturers, the most vocal among them being General Motors, GM, attempted to block an exemption that would allow anyone to play with the code that ran on the vehicles they bought. So they're seeking an exemption. GM claimed that this exemption could introduce safety and security issues.
Right.
Safety and security issues like having your Jeep's having your Jeep hacked into and your brakes stop working or stuff like that. Or like Volkswagen recently with their massive scandal and their cars misrepresenting and misreporting the amount of exhaust that they were putting out to bypass, or like the thing that specifically set off a trigger. It's like, ooh, we're being tested for exhaust right now. Let's
Right.
fudge these results or something like that. These have led to basically the governing bodies distrusting these companies, because what the companies want is like nobody should be allowed to do that. But what the government place should be is like, well, if you set up a rule that does that, but then the product you actually come out with, because it hasn't had that broader amount of like people going in and digging in and messing around with it, because that's blocked and made illegal, and then somehow there's security holes in it that hackers can get into, well, that's a little bit of an issue.
Right.
So there is theory that goings on with GM and the Jeep thing and the Volkswagen thing might have contributed towards this decision, but
This would be a good sword fight too.
this would be a good sword fight. We have good sword fights though coming up here in
That
just a
is
minute.
true.
So
Yes, we do.
yeah, a funny quote here. This is from John Deere, who decided to weigh in on this. John Deere makes tractors. They are an agricultural, construction, and forestry equipment manufacturer. I think they have to be global. I don't know if people who are outside the U.S. are familiar with John Deere, but John Deere showed very clearly that they should stick to making tractors, because they claimed that this exemption might allow the drivers of their vehicles to listen to pirated music and audiobooks or watch copyrighted films in their tractors. Because,
Because that makes sense.
yeah, because that makes sense. John Deere, or whoever said this at John Deere, has no idea what the hell's going on.
This is why he's making
That's what
tractors and
we're
not
worried.
iPhones.
We're worried about piracy in vehicles. That's what, like you got like a dash-mounted LED display or something. We don't want you watching any pirated movies on that. No, that's not at all what it's about, John Deere. Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
so apart from this decision, which again basically it's on the side of the consumer as far as we can tell, at least for the next 3 years. There's another separate decision that they made to renew a previous exemption for jailbreaking iPhones and other mobile devices, so you can still do that legally, and you can't be, hauled into jail for jailbreaking your phone. And then there's that third ruling that they did, which means computer game enthusiasts could modify their games and continue playing them even after support was killed off. So that is a legitimate ruling from the DMCA, basically saying, yeah, you can mod your games and stuff like that.
Nice.
Now, again, as far as broader legalities and that kind of thing goes, we can't speak too much on that. But who knows what this type of thing might mean for stuff like, can Nintendo no longer prevent people from modding their games and doing the stuff we were talking about before Mario Maker came out?
Right.
As a result of this, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Surely there's more to come. But anyway, one more story here on the winners. As we're talking about winners, who's the winner next? The gaming hardware market, PC gaming hardware market
Us?
specifically. Yes,
We win?
We're all winners today.
But I thought our industry is always in the shitter and stuff, Paul.
No,
Isn't
it's
that
not.
right? No.
I mean, it depends who you ask.
Tell me more.
It depends who you ask. It depends on their outlook on the market. It depends on their understanding of technology in general, and stuff like upgrade cycles and whatever. Oh, sorry, I'm mousing over menus that are popping down. There's a picture of Star Wars Battlefront, which has no bearing on the rest of the article, but it is a picture. John Petty Research, which is fairly reputable as far as their research and prediction of the future agency goes. And they have said, based on this little chart you can see right here, that the total gaming hardware market in 2014 was a little bit more than 24.936 billion. Is that right?
That's what it
that's
says
number
here.
of millions. 24.936 billion in 2014, slightly declined in 2015 to 24.684 billion. In 2016, they say it will increase though. So see, this is here, and then this is less, and then this is more. And then this is even more than that. In 2017, we got 28 billion. And then in 2018, we have 30 billion. Those are bigger numbers than the year before.
Right.
Which means that they're anticipating that they're going to keep selling PC gaming hardware. And that's specifically gaming. So we're talking not just about your core computers and stuff, but gaming laptops, accessories, game
Peripherals and all that.
pads, graphics cards, the stuff that you would need in order to game on a PC. Now, looking at the long game here and the purchasing cycle, which is important when you're trying to predict sales and stuff like that, and they're saying that this cycle, unlike any for the past 15 years, will inspire gamers to upgrade their displays. So the display market was pretty stagnant for quite a while after the advent of flat screens. You had a little bit of improvement when you went from TN panels to IPS panels and some of the other technology and color depth and stuff. But now we're seeing just a big boom in the availability of stuff like high resolution stuff, 1440, 1600, 4K, G-Sync and FreeSync, of course. I guess you could throw 3D technology in there. But I don't think that was curved technology. There's a lot of new technology in displays. People are now finding that they're going to buy the displays. Buying the display will spur them to buy more gaming hardware because you need better gaming hardware in order to game at higher resolutions. Also, the more AAA games coming out that are more difficult to run and requiring to run them at 60 FPS. And then, of course, VR, which was really only barely mentioned in this article, but VR should push hardware sales because VR headsets are requiring 90 frames per second. You have two separate fields of view being displayed separately. Depending on the headset you're looking at, they're generally higher resolution than 1080. And you're going to need more hardware to push that. Okay,
Nice.
winners.
We
So
win.
Who wins? Wait, we should recap. Who wins? Charlie Sheen.
Wait, he wasn't
No.
in an article.
The PC gaming and hardware market wins. We all win because we can't be sued for hacking our cars or our games anymore. And the EU wins for getting a little bit better on the net neutrality side of it. All right.
I like it. I like the segment. I like how
It's
optimistic
positive.
it is.
Positive and optimistic. That's what we're
And now for our next segment, Oh Joy.
Now for Oh Joy.
Everything's horrible. No.
No, we're not going to do Oh Joy.
Okay.
Next up, we have the games report.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about some video games. This is the video games time of the year when all the AAA titles come out because people like to delay things until Q4 because that's the only time of the year people spend money, which isn't which isn't completely true, but it does mean you get this kind of flood of games right at this time of year.
Right.
Which I guess if you're like a student, and you have like
Winter break.
Thanksgiving and winter break and stuff like that, that's very nice because you just spend like 2 solid weeks
True.
just doing nothing, playing games,
I'm sure there is some kind of analytics behind that product cycle.
pooping your pants.
Bloop, just goes up.
There probably
End of the
is. They probably look at things before they do them and think.
Maybe.
Anyway. All right,
Maybe.
so let's start out with I'm going to close some of these other. Let's start out with a trailer.
No Man's Sky.
Just came out today. Is it today? Yeah, today, 10/27. No Man's Sky. This is the trailer for No Man's Sky. You guys probably can't hear much of anything of it.
This game is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Literally.
This
Right?
game is
Right?
massive.
Am I right?
All right, so it's playing in the background here. It might be too loud. I hope it's not too loud. Maybe you can hear it a little bit. I am kind of excited about this game. It's a massive, massive world. There are 18 quintillion procedurally generated worlds to explore in No Man's Sky.
What is really the point of that?
Well, I think the point is that they create AI that generates stuff. And like I watched an interview with one of the developers, and he was talking about it. He's like, we've been building this game. We are, putting together the building blocks that the game is based upon. We will go out and find a planet, and there'll be stuff there that we didn't make. Like it just like the game through its.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's all an algorithm. It's all randomly generated. There's no way you'd be able to actually save this game on, even a 4 terabyte hard drive at 18 quintillion worlds, right? So it's got to be just an algorithm.
There's going to be.
You're not actually saving maps, all these different worlds onto your hard drive. It's actually just an algorithm or a code that randomly generates it as you go through the game.
But I think once you go somewhere, it's there. It doesn't disappear.
Of course, and then
because you can name when you find something, you can name it after yourself and stuff
Right.
like that.
Or like different species that you discover.
Yeah.
So I get that, but there's no way you could actually visit all 18 quintillion. It would take millions of lifetimes to actually explore. So does there become a point when a game is too big or too vast? Or are there any downsides to having too big of an open world scenario?
There might be.
Is my thought. So, but I mean, this is like the first of its kind, and I think maybe that's why we're seeing this
Yes.
ridiculously high number. This voluminous world is because it's kind of like a hat to put on their heads, saying like, look, we did this first, which is it was going to happen sooner or later, but it's just interesting to see it actually happening, and I'm curious to see what the gameplay is like, because we were talking about this earlier before the show started, like how often or how likely are you actually going to be running into somebody else in this universe if it really is a universe? I mean, could you imagine if everyone on Earth was just split up all over the universe? I mean, I would never see another person. I would just die before.
There's way more worlds than there are people on Earth right now.
Exactly. It's infinite,
so
supposedly. So I don't know how this is going to work.
So there's some discussion of playing it as a single player game because
Right.
your encounters with other people will be so rare. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about the game, but there's some hype around it too. The developers, Hello Games. The release date that they just said today is June 2016, barring any pushbacks, which, there probably will be. Who knows? And the hype is, again, like I was kind of saying, it's a combination of the beautiful sci-fi visuals and the unprecedented scope of the game with 18 quintillion worlds. Hello Games is a very small team. It's less than a dozen people creating this game. So that's where some of the, like when you talk about the broad scope and then you look at the team building it, that's where some people have come back and said, maybe the hype is overhyped. Who knows?
Right.
Like, how can this many people create this?
Well, the team actually has another algorithm that randomly generates team members.
New team members
and
to
new
do
developers.
more programming.
Right.
But I mean, that is a question. If you can create something in such a way that you can have the computer work for you, and you can build the AI in so that the computer is building stuff on its own and creating stuff on its own, can you sort of vastly expand the amount that you're able to do as a single person by sort of planting the seeds here and then kind of letting them grow?
Right.
Anyway.
I think it'd be cool if they allowed like repopulation or reproduction. So if you find like a member of the opposite sex in the universe, you can procreate and like populate a universe with more players. Like you could be my child. You could be my first child.
I could.
Yeah, like if I had sex with somebody else in the game, and then you like decided as a player, decided like I'm going to start playing, like it would just randomly generate you
Oh.
as as our child, as me and my lover's love child, and then Paul was like my son, I get to name you,
That'd be cool.
Mr. Head.
I go for that.
I mean, that'd be cool. Because then you could actually
Might develop
start a
an-
civilization on your planet until somebody else comes and nukes it.
Might develop an Oedipus complex, but all right, that's No Man's Sky.
Fun.
June 2016. Early buzz about it has been very exciting. Even the naysayers and like the Verge article I said there said that when they were shown the demo, people were pretty impressed with it. So the gameplay seems like it's pretty fun as well.
I love the art style.
Yeah, the art style's pretty cool.
Really sweet.
And lots of exploring and all that kind of stuff. All right.
What's next?
Quick little note here about Fallout 4. Now, Kyle's going to be talking about Fallout 4 a little bit on his side of the show, specifically about GameWorks, because that is another story. This is not about that, though. This is just about Fallout 4 being preloadable. This is from Rock, Paper, Shotgun, and there's a lot of people excited about Fallout 4. Pete Hines, who is a PR rep, has confirmed via a tweet that Fallout 4 will be preloadable on prior to the November 10th release. They will offer preloading on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Exact day and time is still TBA, but if you're the kind of person who gets really excited about a new game and like takes time, a day off of work or something like that, and you want to maximize that time, then preloading that's very useful. It's
Yeah.
way better than pre-ordering, I will say.
Yeah.
So nice that they're doing it.
It's also nice in case like the servers get bogged down or something for everyone trying to download
Definitely.
the game at the same time. It's nice to
Yeah.
already have it done beforehand.
For all the people who jump right on at launch. So again, exact date and time have not been set, but yeah, if you're gonna address, they say if you're planning on taking a day off of work, skipping the kids off to the grandparents, dressing up as Pip-Boy cosplay, and playing Bethesda's new RPG the moment it launches, then definitely do some preloading of it. And remember, even if you're buying the disc copy of the game, we discussed this I think last week or the week before, the disc copy of the game is not going to have the entire game on it. You're still going to need
Right.
some amount of download going on from Steam.
As a DRM precaution, right?
Yeah, theoretically.
Right.
We're still not sure how much of the game is going to be there, or it's one of those things where like the game is 99% done, so they need to have the disc stamped.
Right.
So they're like, all right, do it like this, and it'll have most of the game, but we're still going to have 0-day patches or whatever,
Right.
or day one patches. And I guess I had there. Oh, wait, one more story from one more story in the Games Report. Windows 10. This is Xbox One, Windows 10.
Xbox
This is
One.
for
okay.
this is for all of our avid Xbox One users who watch our show. There's a few. I'm
You
sure
never
there's a few
know.
out
I mean,
there.
I saw Timmy Tech.
Yeah.
He said that he was playing Halo 5
Oh, yeah,
when
yeah.
it came out last night.
I mean, if you're into the Halo series, then you kind of got to have that.
You know, it almost makes me wish that I had an Xbox One.
Hmm.
I know I'll be crucified for saying that, but Halo 5 looks like a lot of fun.
It does.
I miss Halo.
And that's the final thing in my little on my notes here. But
Oh.
Larry Erb said this was this today? No, this was yesterday. Windows 10 powered new Xbox One experience, or NXOE if you like acronyms, rolls out Thursday, November 12th. So in just a couple weeks. It's adding. It's also one of the cool things about, aside from the actual rollout itself, which is there's a new UI and there's other stuff in there. It doesn't have Cortana. There were some people in one of the earlier versions of this who found some Cortana hooks there in some of the settings, but it's not going to have Cortana right at launch. But they are planning on bringing Cortana to the Xbox One. They're also adding additional backwards compatibility for Xbox 360 games. This is something they announced a little while back, and they've been working on. Theories are that it's to help enhance their set of games, so they can say Xbox One has this many games on it,
Right.
even though they might be Xbox 360 games. Going back to Cortana, though, the official version that has Cortana is going to hit preview testers later in 2015, they say, and then there will be an official rollout of the version with Cortana in 2016. So I imagine for people who already like talking to their Xbox One and telling it to do stuff, talking it and letting it talk back to you with Cortana
Yeah.
should fulfill some fantasies, I imagine. if
Fits
you're
in
out there.
perfectly. Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of that going on. Especially with Xbox One Cortana. And this takes Microsoft one step closer to its vision of a unified multi-device platform.
So
Which is a
what
bold
does that
vision.
mean?
It means like, mobile devices like phones have Windows and, standard computers with Windows.
Does this mean I'll get to maybe one day play Halo 5 on a PC?
This is, you should be able to.
Ooh.
I mean, there's no real legitimate reason why you shouldn't, other than Microsoft wants to make Halo their
Console.
Halo. It's right in the name. It's their Halo franchise for Xbox, and they want it to be one of those things like a Zelda. I have to buy the new Nintendo so I can play the new Zelda game.
Right.
Can't remember how often my old roommate said that. It was quite frequent, actually. He did that many times. All right.
Sweet.
We're just blazing through the stories today. We're actually right on time. That's
right.
cool. Moving right along to my next segment, the ever popular sword fight.
Ooh.
Yay, sword fight. Okay, guys, if you're joining us for the first time here, sword fight involves a little bit of you guys participating with us. So I will, in just a moment, be posting a straw poll in the chat. Kyle and I are going to take opposite sides of a hopefully controversial topic, and we will argue them.
I don't know about the first one you have here.
We'll argue both sides. You guys can vote on what you think, or you can wait and listen to what we say, and maybe our you know, our commentary and
Our educated.
Given that I
arguments.
can't even speak right now and I'm introducing the thing, I don't think I'm going to be very eloquent in
This sword fight's gonna
my
be
defensive
cake.
sword fight. All right, so here's an interesting
What
thing.
is this safe for work? I mean, just in case someone's at work.
Not safe for work warning.
Okay.
Right now, not safe for work.
Good.
I don't know what more we can do than that. We've got.
You've been warned.
All right, this is a
been warned.
This is a Huffington Post article about a thing called the ejaculator.
Half of the people are terrified right now, and the other half are super excited.
Oh yeah. So this is the ejaculator. There is a video.
The ejaculator.
The
You have to say
ejaculator.
the ejaculator.
Yeah, it's separated. The J is capital.
This is a personal
that's a
product
picture
that
of
I've
it.
Invented.
Part of it's blurred. This is a, what do they call these devices? This is a personal
Fleshlight.
A personal jack-off device. I don't know what to call it.
It's an ejaculator.
Anyway, so this is on Indiegogo right now. The ejaculator. It's a VR headset synced with a stroking adult toy, according to their Indiegogo. That means that you wear the headset like this dude's doing here. This little thing goes on your Johnson, and then it's hands-free and it operates itself, and you can watch your porn videos. And then it I don't know if it they've pre-curated the porn videos and then it does something down there and syncs up with what you're doing at the same time.
I mean, what really could a fleshlight like that actually do other than wrap around your Johnson?
It moves in there. I don't want to play.
It moves in there.
Yeah.
But what kind of real life?
Hold on.
What kind of real life vag
I'm
actually moves down there?
Well,
What do you mean it moves? Like
it's the
does
partner.
tricks?
It's the partner that moves around the vag.
So does it act? So it's not the
takes the-
So there's no internal motor, but it's does it go up and down?
There was one shot that seemed to show a little bit of what was going on in there.
Because I'm still.
This is the dude. This is the
he's
guy
the
who
founder,
created it.
Right.
He's very bold about it. He's not at all.
Ashamed or
We're
discreet.
And they talked to some of the people who have tried it out, like this guy. They all just look so
So sleazy. Dirty.
There's this dude with the stoner shirt on.
It literally says
And-
stoned on his shirt.
I got if I was a door-to-door salesman and I walked up and knocked on this guy's door and he answered it looking like that, I would immediately think to myself, he just finished jacking off. That would just that right? That's just.
He is the perfect candidate for this interview.
Anyway, so yeah, that's my quick introduction to the ejaculator. Early adopters can get it for $125 a pop. It's an ongoing Indiegogo project. They've raised $85,000 so far. Their goal was $40K or something like that. How the heck does this relate to Oh wait, I need to find.
I want to know
the link.
what it does. What do you mean hands free?
It moves. There's the outer part, and then there's an inner part, and the inner part moves. It thrusts for you.
Thrust goes back and forth.
Yeah.
I
As
don't
far
know.
as again.
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna have to
The video was
buy
not very explicit.
an early dev kit and test it out. Because
Clearly.
I really just.
No other
I mean, not
choice.
that I'm interested at all. I think I just really need to get to the bottom of it and figure out exactly how this thing works, because it just doesn't seem
Okay.
right to me. I'm only gonna know if I try it.
I've posted a straw poll in chat.
Okay.
Chat, which is going crazy right now. All right, so my question, and Kyle, we haven't decided which side of this we're going to take, but I'll let you choose. Does the ejaculator represent the next step in mankind's evolution, or does it show that our species is ultimately doomed? Your options are: the ejaculator is the future we have always dreamed of one day achieving. We are doomed because no one will have sex with me anymore. No one will have sex anymore. That's kind of a joke there. But anyway. And then what would the female version be called? I vote for inseminator. You can call it that. Anyway.
What?
I was thinking
the female version.
We're gonna ignore that. But this is definitely a male-oriented product. That's very, very clear there. So, all right. So, which side of this argument do you want to take, Kyle?
All right. So I'm gonna go with the option that I feel most strongly with, because clearly I do not approve of this product, and I would in no way endorse it. So the furthest thing from that is we are doomed because no one will have sex with me anymore. No one will have sex anymore.
Okay.
Right. Well, I mean, the last part doesn't really apply to me. I have a wife, so you know.
Yeah,
I'm taken care of on that front.
It was just a silly joke, but it's there. We're doomed.
But humanity is doomed for this product. There's no way that anyone should buy this until I test it for myself, because it's just, you know, people are just going to be screwing these fleshlight things all the time, and then what's going to happen? It's a fast track to our demise, literally, because we're going to stop having sex, we're going to stop procreating, we're going to not have any babies. It's going to be like no man's land. You're going to like travel to like other planets, and there's just going to be no one there. And it's like, oh, what is this deserted planet? Oh, that's Earth. Why don't you name it Earth? You know why? Because teledildonics, or whatever the fuck this thing is called. Ejaculator.
Teledildonics.
Yeah, that's a word. Look it up.
Ejaculator.
I don't know anything about this stuff though. I just internet.
Is that really a thing?
That's a thing. All right, so here's a quick lesson for you guys. Teledildonics is a thing where, let's say you're doing a webcam, like a chatterbait or something. You're like, you know, your webcam with someone. You can actually, there's a dildo. There's a dildo that you can stick in yourself. If you know, you can be either or. Doesn't matter what you are.
Whatever orifice you want to stick it in.
But you each have, so one's a fleshlight and one's a dildo, and each person has one, and they're on opposite sides of the globe or whatever. But they're watching each other through webcam, and one reacts to the other. So if you hit certain sensors on one, then other sensors react on the other. So it literally does feel, it's supposed to feel, give the sensation that you're having sex with this other person.
Oh,
and that technology of like smart sex toys is called teledildonics.
That's a good word.
True story.
I almost immediately, you didn't even really have to explain that. I probably could have just surmised what it was.
Absolutely.
Out of the gate.
But you know, for us innocent viewers at home that are now tainted. But that's why I do not approve of this stuff, nor do I know anything about it.
All right. So Kyle's sticking with his Puritan values.
I'm very pure.
And he's saying this is a bad thing. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. This is the future. It's something we've always dreamed of one day achieving. Now, I'm gonna appeal to the sort of geeky nerdy elements of our audience. A lot of you guys probably watch Star Trek or are familiar with Star Trek to some degree. Star Trek envisions a future where man has overcome a lot of the fundamental problems that have arisen as we have gone from a hunter-gatherer society into an actual larger society with cities and towns and governments and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Now, this, I think, is going to help us move past one of the still existing fundamental problems with mankind, and that is pent-up aggression. See, if you hold back, if you withdraw from stuff like sexuality and that kind of thing, which is really just part of our anatomy. I mean, we're driven to have sex. It is probably one of the most fundamental things about us that we do, because as people, we're driven to procreate. Take this, and you take a lot of that pent-up, because if you go back before we had society, it was difficult. You know, it was hard to stay alive. It was hard to find a mate and have offspring and everything and have the ongoing of the species. But now we don't really have that concern anymore. So we have still this pent-up need to procreate, but we also have the ability to sort of have ways of letting that go, so to speak, so that we can maintain a calm, rational mindset, and we can move on with developing the society that Star Trek foresaw. We've all seen First Contact, which
pun intended
involved and First Contact could never have happened without the ejaculator. Okay,
All right. So
We-
basically, you approve of this because otherwise we'll just screw everything. And we need some kind of outlet to release our pent-up sexual aggression.
I can explain better. I approve of this because if you look at like conflicts in the past, and you know, wars or like one person dominating another person to some degree, or trying to subdue another person, a lot of times you can boil those conflicts down to sexual aggression or pent-up sexuality.
Okay.
Like,
So to avoid any kind of world wars in the future.
This group needs to take over this group because they have attractive women, and
Right.
they want to mate with them.
So what if we just did a
go to
drop
war.
shipment on top of ISIS full of like 100 ejaculators, and just let them go to town, right? Give them the like lube, extra lube and everything.
I think Russia has actually already done that. But
Russia's already on top of
Okay.
it. All right. Well, cool. I agree.
yeah, so let's see what you guys think.
Everyone should not have one.
All right.
No, I do not like
Apparently,
this.
everyone's interested in the female version, which is the inseminator would be obvious. There's got to be a female version of this. I'm just saying.
Right.
They gotta.
That's half the
They
market
got
share right
one.
there.
You can't be one-sided like that.
Of course.
But I lose though. Kyle, you win.
All right.
Only by 2 votes though.
but we both lose to the female version.
More people say we're doomed, but everyone apparently is more interested in checking out that female
Dude,
version.
you know what this means? We got to get on it.
Watching the Indiegogo video for that one.
And how much do you really? I mean, how much is one of these going for? I mean,
$150.
okay, a friend of mine.
150 straight up. Or if you jump on the Indiegogo, you can get it for $125 right now. But I
Okay.
think there's only a few of those.
I'll
a few
definitely
of
let him
those
know
left.
for sure.
All right.
Cool.
Let's move on to one more question here when it comes to sword fight.
Uh-huh.
RedTube. No, YouTube Red.
Oh, wow, okay.
YouTube Red. I was gonna
Can't help your mind be in the gutter
just,
after that
just
one.
trying to tie these together. All right, I'm gonna post this straw poll in chat, and let's check out this post by our network. Kyle and I are both part of the Full Screen Network.
We
It's a
are.
massive network.
They're
Full Screen
number
posted
one.
this today.
Yeah.
About YouTube Red. YouTube has confirmed to Full Screen that creators will not receive revenue when a YouTube Red user watches your videos during the free trial.
That's effed up.
That's kind of
I don't like that at all.
All right, so the question I have put simply, YouTube Red, yes or no? Now we need to give a little bit. I'm gonna repost this straw poll.
I have a feeling
RedTube,
I know which one everyone
RedTube will
vote
still be there
for.
though, right? Yeah, we always gotta have that third option.
Yep. So are
Okay,
you
so-
talking about YouTube Red as a whole?
We're
or
gonna
just
determine.
the
We're gonna
free trial
determine
thing?
right now whether YouTube Red is a success or a failure. Or as a whole.
Oh, if it's going to
As a
succeed
whole.
or fail?
Now, the trial is obviously the thing most recently. Now, there's been lots of talk back and forth about this, especially when you talk to YouTube creators, because YouTube creators, like Kyle and I, are somewhat reliant on YouTube ad revenue in order to do things like eat food and have a roof over our heads.
I would
to
say
pay
heavily reliant.
rent or mortgage or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, YouTube already, they take a cut of the ad revenue and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people who will say that once we switch over to YouTube Red, we're not going to see much of a difference in the amount of money that actually we get, or that hopefully it might even go up. But YouTube Red, put simply, is a $10 YouTube subscription, starts tomorrow, and you can pay $10 and then you get rid of the ads on YouTube. The thing right now that a lot of us are concerned about is it is end of October, beginning of November. This is crunch time for everyone who sells anything. This is when people buy stuff. This is Q4. This is when Black Friday happens because companies go into the black. And any YouTuber who's been doing it for a little while will tell you that they make more money in the last quarter of the year. Maybe not as the whole rest of the year combined, but it's a lot more. It's significant. You can see when all of the people marketing their products start investing more in how much they're paying to put ads out there.
Right.
It gets more competitive, and you just make more money. So this starting right now, starting tomorrow, and people starting tomorrow being able to sign up for a full month,
It's just the best timing for
where
us.
they can just watch YouTube without ads and not pay, and basically not give the creators of those videos anything for it, is kind of scary.
Yeah,
But we don't know how many people are going to do this.
right.
We don't know how much money we're going to make after next month. So it's an up in the air. But all right, so we need to argue this though. Yes, no, YouTube Red. What do you think? Which side do you want to go for?
I went first last time, so
Okay.
you argue this time.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to play devil's advocate. or I don't know if this is devil's advocate, but I'm going to say yes. YouTube Red, yes.
Okay.
So Kyle's going to say YouTube Red, no. And I'll start since you also started last time. Now, YouTube, as a whole, since Google bought them, has been growing like exponentially. It's huge. Their year-over-year viewership is massive. They're taking a lot of audiences away from standard cable TV and that kind of thing. I'm going to take a drink of beer.
Okay.
But YouTube also is an incredible investment when it comes to infrastructure. When you have a service set up that allows anybody, anywhere in the world, to get on their cell phone or, God forbid, their computer or anything like that, record a stupid little video, hit upload, and it goes to your service and it's there for anyone to watch whenever they want to in high definition, you're talking about a lot of investment when it comes to the software back end, when it comes to servers to host all of that video. And it's constantly coming in all the time. So YouTube has already shown in the past year that their business model right now is not a sustainable one. They're not going to be able to keep doing YouTube as YouTube the way it currently is. This is a basic subscription model. It ties in not just with YouTube and gives you ad-free YouTube watching, but also gives you access to Google Music, which is a pretty decent amount of content that you get for $10 a month. And I think as people start adopting this service, as long as YouTube does a good job with rolling it out and makes it gives people enough of a benefit from the paid model that they keep doing it, I think ultimately this is going to result in creators making more money and YouTube as a whole just being a more successful business venture. Granted, we might deal with a little bit of a slowdown at first, especially as people are dipping their feet in. But honestly, you're not going to get people to try something like this unless you offer something like a free trial. People without trying something out, it's a lot harder to get them to pay money for it. You at least have to try something out beforehand, or you need to read a review by someone else who has tried it out. So I, like lots of people, am concerned about ad revenue and that kind of thing in the next month or two, but I think we'll get by, and I think in the long run we're going to see YouTube going from a losing money to making a little bit of money and hopefully taking the creators along with it.
All right, very good and thorough response, Paul.
Yep, I was right. So
I will go ahead and reply and let you know that you're wrong about everything you just said.
Oh, okay.
Because YouTube Red is essentially the end of content creation and creativity for content creators like you and I. All right, so here's the deal, right? So YouTube has not really disclosed how much of a cut creators like us will be getting from the $10 a month. It could be anything. We really don't know at this point. The fact that they're not being transparent from the get-go is a little bit concerning to me. The other thing is that people are saying, well, viewers are using AdBlock anyway, so for those people to hop onto YouTube Red, it's not going to make much of a difference. Well, my response to that is that people who are already using AdBlock probably don't really see the need to invest in YouTube Red as much because they already are watching YouTube essentially ad-free. And if you guys have AdBlock installed on your systems, then, I get it.
Screw you. No, I'm just kidding.
I understand.
We have it installed over here too.
But what YouTube Red is really catering toward, or the demographic they're trying to attract, and what they are going to attract, I feel, are the people who aren't aware of things like AdBlock, like my parents, or like someone who really watches YouTube, but maybe they're like a mother or father, just not someone who's as tech savvy to know that AdBlock exists, and that they're not, savvy enough to equip it themselves or install it themselves, might be more interested. So now we're losing the people who already have AdBlock installed, and we're losing this whole new demographic like the soccer moms who are no longer watching our ads, and who really knows how much of a cut we're going to be getting. What I also see this move as on YouTube's end is, have you heard about the whole thing that they're planning to do with like the really big content creators?
Yes.
Like they're trying to get them to do, or they're actually forcing them to make these bigger, more highly produced shows. Otherwise, they like privatize all of their content to their subscribers.
They're forcing them?
They're pretty well. They give them the option to, but if they don't actually sign the deal with YouTube or agree to produce more content, then all of their...
I haven't heard of that. I heard that like you and I and anyone who's already on the platform, if we hadn't signed the updated contract, which they rolled out months ago, that they would turn off all of our public videos. I didn't hear anything about them like coercing the big YouTubers into making those special.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's
Okay.
what I've read from a couple articles. So
So the PewDiePie like horror movie that they're working on or whatever.
right, stuff like that. So it seems like that $10 a month
They
that
have to
they're
work hard to make it scarier than his regular videos.
so that monthly subscription that YouTube's getting, they're investing that into the larger, these huge like film grade, budget productions for
Yeah.
folks like PewDiePie, or Epic Mealtime or whoever. And I feel like they're just trying to make the platform more like a Hulu or like a Netflix alternative, where it's not just homemade videos anymore, or it's not just a dude in his basement behind a camera. Now it's like freaking, like Big Bang Theory, or like they're actually produced shows, whatever you want to call it. And that is why they're trying to justify. That's how they're trying to justify the $10 a month, is for more quality content. But at the same time, that's great for the big content creators who are willing to do that. Assuming that that they're down for it and they're not going to get all their videos privatized. But for content creators like me, it kind of leaves us in the dust, I feel. And I see this as a money-hungry grab on YouTube. I feel like there are other ways that they could go about generating a profit from this. I think they're just trying to change their fundamental core of what they are. And I like current YouTube. I like the way, it's got its quirks, it's got its flaws, but I like how it's very like man on the street. I'm just a dude making videos, and people who like my videos get to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you implement money, or you add money to the equation, like YouTube is currently doing, it kind of is great for that 1%, and the rest of the community kind of gets screwed over. And you and I are no, we're no Linus Tech Tips quite yet. One day for sure, but at the current moment, we are just not at that point where we can see a huge benefit from this. Is my speculation. So I'm gonna have to say, screw you, YouTube Red.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
But let's see what you guys thought.
Some of those were actually complete sentences, so you might have swayed some opinions.
Yes.
Let's see what people said.
Scotch is good.
Results. No.
No.
People say resoundingly no.
11%
In
for
fact,
yes.
to the tune of almost 90% no. All right. Well, hey. Cool.
Good thing it's starting
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Speaking honestly, which we do sometimes at the end of Sword Fight, I'm trying not to be too worried, because I feel like there's not a whole lot that I can do about it right now outside of just talking about it a little bit like we've done right now. I really hope that this, like we have recently talked about, I really hope that this isn't a major detriment to like the Q4 earnings, because it's a pretty significant impact on a lot of YouTubers out there. I hope YouTube needs to do something different. They need to figure out something else. Is this the answer? I don't know. But it's something. And I think it's kind of more of a wait and see thing for right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really hope that when they start looking at like November numbers and stuff like that, it's not just like way lower than it was last year.
Right.
I'm hoping it's higher than it was last year, because, I have like twice as many subscribers now.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to affect usual numbers, but a lot of that has to do with ad block.
I feel like
Anyway.
this is also going to encourage a lot of content creators to start embedding more
Embedded
built-in
videos.
ads.
A lot of people have immediately jumped onto Patreon.
Yeah.
Kyle and I don't approve of Patreon because we feel like it's just sort of like begging for handouts or something. None of us without any do.
I
anything like that.
have a Patreon actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, everyone go contribute to Kyle's Patreon.
Hey, Logan has a Patreon too.
He said he couldn't
All right?
have it. No, I'm just talking nonsense. All right, that's the end of Sword Fight. Thank you all for your participation in chat and whatnot. We're
Yes.
going to move on to the final segment of my half of the show, which is news,
News.
tech news.
News.
News about technology.
News one.
First off, we have a video that Corsair posted. This is a new case from Corsair,
Ooh.
and I looked at it and I was like, that's a fun little case.
Ooh.
Let's talk about it. This is the Carbide Series 88R, and George from Corsair does a nice little video introduction of it
Look at
here.
the thumbnail.
What thumbnail?
Their main thumbnail for their channel looks.
This
Is it all yellow and
the
stuff?
Corsair?
Yeah.
I don't know. They switched over to yellow. They updated because they got rid of the gaming logo and they updated to this one.
Are
and-
they done with the tramp stamp?
Yeah, tramp stamp's over.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, they killed it.
Well,
okay.
good.
Okay.
Good thing I didn't
let's
get
look
that
at the product
tattooed.
page because there's better pictures of it. Carbide 88R. This is a $50 case, $50 MSRP, mind you. So I could see this based on MSRPs of cases and what we often see. I
Right.
could see this selling for less than $50.
Yeah, I could.
I mean, who knows? Because it's a new case. But all right, 88R, compact, elegant, easy to build. There it is. Got kind of that faux brushed brushed aluminum plastic look on the
Getting
front.
a slight fractal vibe,
Oh yeah,
just a
oh yeah.
tad.
In fact, they even said like
like with the core
clean,
series.
clean design and that kind of thing.
Minimalistic.
They didn't say minimalistic.
I mean, it kind of has that
No mention-
It kind of has that Define-esque front panel,
yeah. Oh yeah, the
Um,
front panel for sure, right there.
but kind of like
But
in the
I
core
mean,
budget.
there's, yeah.
I mean, sure, there's differences.
When you're dealing with a rectangle box, though, I mean,
there's not too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we could debate that, but we have room for 5 120 millimeter fans, and this will set up here. They've actually put a 120 millimeter radiator up in front. It's got a 5¼ inch bay up front. It's got a USB 2 and a USB 3.0 port. Not both, but whatever.
Yeah.
Some tool-free 3.5 inch and 5¼ inch drive bays. Stay positive. That's like they ripped off your stay
That's
positive.
actually
shirt
negative right there, though.
You're right. That is kind of negative.
So they've got 4 fans at the front.
And I believe, yeah, it includes a 120 millimeter fan, which I'm sure is one of their bare bones ones since this is a budget case. But again, you can fit up to 5. Nice little window there for view at the interior. And I like Micro ATX as a form factor. It's,
Me too.
It's a good size. You know, you don't always
It's a
need
good
all the
compromise.
extra expansion that you get with full-size ATX boards. So great to have that option and a
Yep.
new entry to the market and a very cheap one. So
Right.
if anyone's interested in a new little case,
Sweet.
check that out. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. This is actually from last week, but I wanted to discuss it, which is WD buying SanDisk for $19 billion.
What?
Billion.
Jesus.
Massive, massive storage merger, and honestly, something that I feel like was kind of a long time coming from WD. Market share-wise, I believe they're larger than Seagate's, and I've just seen them like, I don't know. They've had a few solid-state devices. They actually did launch a WD Blue series of SSDs like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
They weren't like awful SSDs. They were just overpriced.
Right.
So overpriced. Like the performance you got out of them was decent, and then you could buy other ones for like 50 or 100 bucks cheaper at the time.
Yeah.
And then they've had like some hybrid drives that they've worked with, but really they need solid-state storage.
Yeah.
SanDisk is actually a fabricator of NAND flash, so WD owning them means they now have fabs.
Nice.
So this is still subject to a SanDisk shareholder vote as well as regulatory approval. It's expected to close in the third quarter of 2016. WD and SanDisk combined have over 15,000 patents together, so that's a lot of intellectual property that they can leverage with future products, we hope. SanDisk will continue its longtime joint venture with Toshiba, which we've seen a lot of pretty cool products come out of, SSD-wise and otherwise. WD and SanDisk have both reported lower year-over-year profits in their Q3 reports that they've recently come out with, but generally speaking, the market as a whole has been reporting lower, and actually
Right.
the reports were a little bit better than expected. So anyway, we don't know where this leaves Seagate. Seagate remains the only pure hard drive manufacturer that doesn't actually own fabs or have a close tie-in with an SSD
Right.
maker or something like that. So it looks like WD's kind of hedged its bets for the future, and they've
come out with an SSDs in the past.
Seagate.
Right. Didn't they? There was a Seagate
they have
SSD.
their hybrid SSD. They have their. They did have an SSD that came out with the 600 series.
Right. Right.
But those were all
Also-
the controller and the NAND were all purchased from third parties.
I see.
They don't own the fabs themselves, so
Right.
they have to pay a little bit of a premium to get that stuff and bring it together and
Drives
create
the
it.
price up a bit too.
Yeah, so it makes it cost more. And I actually liked the 600 series SSDs from Seagate. I think they had ASMedia controllers in them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're pretty good performers. I used a few of them, but they like discontinued them.
Right.
I think it was also like trying to break into a market that they hadn't really done much in before, so they were having a hard time with competition and visibility of the product
Right.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, one last
Cool.
story here before I move on, which I should have switched over to. All right, 2 stories actually. Both of these are from WCCF Tech, and both of them are based on shipping manifests. These are rumors based
Okay.
on shipping manifests that, what's the author's name here? Usman Perzada I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. He found these via a site called Zauba, which watches shipping manifests. Because if you're shipping something, you kind of have to write like what's in the box.
Right.
So in this way, as they're moving products from fabs to places where they actually do setup and testing, often you will spot early unreleased products. So what was spotted here on the AMD side, there's an AMD and an NVIDIA story. I'm going to go over both. Is an entry in a shipping manifest that lists an AMD project codenamed Magnum.
Magnum.
And it also mentions an FPGA prototype board as well as the words DTV. FPGA is a field programmable gate array, I believe.
Gatorade?
Gate array,
Oh, okay.
which I think that's right. I know it's field programmable, which is a very unique chip, which I don't want to dive into too much because I honestly would be speculating. Anyway, DTV is digital television though. The pricing that's listed on the manifest suggests a high-end product, so this is a little
It's Project Quantum,
entry
clearly.
of the... No, it's not. Quantum's already out.
I know.
The pricing that's listed on the manifest suggests a high-end product, so the speculation in the article is maybe an NVIDIA Shield type device, perhaps a new set-top box or something like that,
Ooh, I like the other
Or-
speculation.
or
Mhm.
the new Nintendo NX console, which there's been a lot of buzz around recently about it, like having like really high-end hardware and stuff like that, which you can brush aside for the most part because it's early console speculation.
Yeah.
But AMD is working with Nintendo, or so we've heard, on the new NX console. So maybe.
Right.
I put this in here. I don't think it's a dual Fiji card because that's already been announced. We've heard nothing about this code named Magnum, and the dual Fiji card is supposed to be out before the end of the year. Whereas stuff that they find in these shipping manifests is usually 4 to 5 months.
Although a dual
away from-
Fiji
from
card
launch.
probably matches the code name the most. The
Magnum?
Magnum. You know, like the Magnum,
Possibly.
like a condom, right? Because it's like a big ass GPU that can hardly fit
I'm familiar with Magnum
inside your
condoms.
case. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware.
So let's move over to the NVIDIA story, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so who knows what the hell that is on the AMD thing.
Yeah.
But also an NVIDIA mysterious graphics chip from NVIDIA, the JM601, spotted on a shipping manifest. This
Graphics processor.
picture is the Maxwell. That's not a picture. They don't have a picture of anything. But look, there's the shipping manifest text. Now, JM601 is not a code name that would immediately tell us anything. The closest we could get is that the M might stand for Maxwell. Usually it's a G something, which is GeForce. There's
Right.
no J that we're aware of.
Right.
This article talks about some chips that they've spotted in previous shipping manifests. For instance, one that they spotted before had a code name 433X3, which was possibly a scrambled name for an upcoming dual GPU.
Okay.
But their deduction here is that either one, NVIDIA has finally started scrambling the code names of the GPUs on these manifests to hide them from people, which would make sense, or the nomenclature is correct and this is just some brand new thing that we've never seen before and we have no idea what it is, which is probably more accurate. This is also a pretty expensive piece, though. It's the cost listed on the manifest is 73,917 INR, which is about $1,136 US, which is pretty expensive. By comparison, the GM200 prototype chip, which is used in the 980 Ti, was listed at only about 30,000. So this is more than double that.
What if it's a dual GM200?
That's also a possibility.
Mm.
But they also said that since the chips that they spot on manifests usually become public in a matter of a few months, or about 4 or 5 months, this would coincide with some of the speculated release dates that they've been bandying about for Pascal. So we could be looking at a flagship chip on the 16nm FinFET.
Sweet.
Just FinFET generation.
FinFET.
Yes,
That's always fun to
FinFET.
say.
All
FinFET.
right, let's do Johnson's. Before
Johnson
we close
time.
my end of the show, I need to log back in here.
Johnson.
All right, I have one Johnson.
Me too.
One Johnson for Chris.
Oh, damn. I was hoping it'd be a double
Oh, okay.
Johnson.
Well, almost double Johnson. But Chris, Johnson to you, sir. Thank you so much for your support, and I really hope you enjoy whatever the heck this is. What did you get? Oh, a thumbscrew shirt. Excellent choice.
Nice.
All right.
And Special Johnson to Darren as well. Thank you for picking up a Stay Positive shirt. As always,
Yeah.
it was one of the last remaining XX sizes.
Nice.
So, good on you.
Cool. All right, guys, that is all from my half of Awesome Hardware. But if you're watching this on YouTube in the future, fear not, because you can go over to Kyle's channel, which is Awesome Sauce Network, and you can watch the second half. If you're watching this live, you will have to wait only a few short moments, and we will be back and live streaming once again. So thank you all for joining us. And, oh, we also have some chips. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for the second half of Awesome Hardware episode 36. I'm going to click the button and end the show.
I've been waiting an hour to eat
You're
that
all
chip.
wonderful people. I'm kind of hungry too. All right.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.